Hi guys, it's Miss Linton again, coming to you with yet another math lesson. Today we're going to be focusing on comparing fractions. As we compare fractions, we're going to pay attention to a few things. We're going to pay attention to the numerators, the denominators. We're also going to take area into consideration here. And then we're also going to be looking at a symbol we can use, or symbols we can use when we compare fractions. When using the less than, greater than symbol, we need to pay attention to the open and closed area of the symbol. The open area of the symbol generally signifies that that number or that value is greater or bigger than the other. In terms of the closed portion or the closed end of the symbol, that needs to be pointed to the smaller or the least fraction, as we're going to be doing in this case. So let's move along. So today we're going to, as I said, pay attention to fractions that have same numerators, same denominators, and then take a look at how much space these fractions are taking up. In our case, we'll be paying attention to the shaded portions of the fractions. So in cases when fractions have the same numerators, again, remember the numerators are the top numbers of the fraction or the number of parts we are focused on in the whole, okay? So in this case, the fractions we have here, the first one, we have two equal parts. Again, the two parts signifies the denominators, but we are looking at the numerators. The numerator, in this case, there is only one part shaded, hence the reason why it's 1/2, okay, that is represented here. When we look at the second fraction, we see the fraction is broken down into 4 equal parts, which represents the denominator. However, in terms of the numerator, there is only one part shaded. Now, in both cases, we only have one part shaded, okay? Because the numerators or the top numbers are the same, we need to pay attention to the denominators. If we look at the fractions, the bigger the denominator, okay, the smaller the pieces. So in the example I have clipped here for you, the denominator that are being compared are 4 and 2. Fourths and halves, okay? So a fourth, if we look at the size of the piece, a fourth is smaller than a half, okay? So because a fourth is a bigger number or a bigger denominator, the fraction is smaller. Okay, so general rule of thumb, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction piece. Okay, moving right along. In cases where we have denominators that are the same, in these situations, we need to pay attention to the numerators. Again, denominators, if we look, these are the numbers at the bottom, or the number of pieces in a whole, okay? In both cases, we have a denominator of 8, which means each of our fractions are decomposed or divided into 8 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts, which means each piece represents 1/8. So as we look here, because the denominators are the same, we need to look at the numerators. How many parts are shaded? Okay, so in the first fraction, it's 5/8 that is represented here, which means 5 parts are shaded. In the second fraction, 3/8 is represented here, which means, again, 3 parts out of 8 is shaded. Now, as I said, when the denominators are the same, we need to pay attention to the numerators. The bigger the numerator, the more space that is being taken up, okay? So 5 is greater than 3, so which means 5/8 is greater than 3/8. Again, the higher the numerator, the bigger the fraction. Simple rule of thumb. thumb. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply that information I just gave you, okay, in a word problem. So Jacob and Yasser are competing to see who can run the farthest. Jacob ran 3/4 of a mile. Yasser ran 3/8 of a mile. Write an expression that correctly compares the distance they ran. So again, like all great mathematicians, whenever we are presented with a word problem, we need to read the word problem not just once, but at least twice. So here I go again. As I go this time, I'm going to underline the key pieces of information to help me solve the problem. Okay, so Jacob and Yasser are competing to see who can run the farthest. So farthest, I'm looking for the greatest distance. Okay, Jacob ran 3/4 of a mile. Okay, so that is important to know. He ran 3/4. Okay, Yasser, on the other hand, Yasser ran 3/8 of a mile. Okay, so here I have Jacob signified by a J and Yasser represented by a Y, and it's kind of hard to see because of the loom image here. Okay, now they ask us to write an expression that correctly compares the distance they ran. Okay, so I'm comparing fractions. I know I said earlier that I need to, if the denominators are the same, I need to pay attention to my numerators. And if my numerators are the same, I need to pay attention to my denominators. Okay, so first off, I need to draw my fraction bars to help me. Okay, so Jacob ran 3/4 of a mile. So if he ran 3/4, that means that my fraction is 3 out of 4 parts. So my fraction is going, my bar is going to be broken down into 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. For Yasser, on the other hand, Yasser ran 3/8 of a mile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. Okay, so now in this case, both the numerators are the same. 3/4, 3/8. Okay, so now I'm going to shade it in. So that's 1/4 for Jacob, another 4 for Jacob, 2/4, and 3/4. Okay, so Jacob ran 3/4 of a mile. Yasser, on the other hand, Yasser pieces, they're smaller. Again, remember what I said earlier. The bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction pieces. Yasser ran 3/8 of a mile. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Now, looking at the picture here, we can clearly see that Jacob ran further than Yasser. Okay, they want to know who ran the farthest. Okay, so based on our picture, Jacob ran the farthest. So again, 3/4 is greater than 3/8. Okay, based on our picture. As an expression, we can clearly state that 3/4 is greater than 3/8. Again, remember what I said. The mouth of the symbol or the open end needs to be pointing to the larger value. Okay, so 3/4 is greater than 3/8. There you have it. Okay, so this was just an example of how we can apply comparing fractions in a word problem. Let's go through a few pictorial and numerical representations. Okay, and again, remember what I said earlier. If they have the same numerators, we need to pay attention to the denominators. Okay, the larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction piece. If they have the same denominators, we need to pay attention to the numerators. The larger the numerator with same denominators, the larger the fraction. So let's go. Okay, so again, pause this video at this point, write down your answers. Okay, and then when you're ready with all of your answers, you come back and we'll check it. Okay, so thank you for coming back. Hopefully we can go through and you have been able to correctly represent correctly place the symbol to make the statements true. Okay, if you missed a few, that's okay. You're just learning right now. So you review the information, and the more you practice, the better you become. Okay, Rome was not built in a day. So let's look. We have 4/8 and we have 3/8. In this case, both the denominators are the same, which means we look at the numerators. 4 is greater than 3. So because of that, 4/8 is indeed greater than 3/8. And again, you can draw your fraction bar to compare to help you, okay? The second one, we have 2/4 and 2/6. The numerators are the same, okay? The denominators are, however, different. Again, remember, when we are paying attention to the denominators, the larger the denominator, the smaller the size of the fraction, which means 2/4 is going to be indeed greater than 2/6. Awesome job. And it's kind of hard to see the one at the bottom. Let me just move this up a bit, okay? So here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so we have again 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 parts. We have 2/10, and then we have 2, 4, 5, and we have 2/5. 2/10 versus 2/5. Again, the smaller pieces, because of the larger denominator, which means 2/5 is going to be greater than 2/10. Okay, moving right along. Here we have, let's count to see what our denominator is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. Okay. Now, as I look here, I could say half of my fraction is shaded. I can also say that 1, 2, 3, 4/8 is shaded. Let's look at the second fraction. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so in this case, both denominators are the same. They're cut into equal parts. So we have 1, 2, 3/8, and then we have 4/8. 4/8 is indeed greater than 3/8. Okay, how are you doing so far? Okay, I'm sure you guys are doing an awesome job with it. Let's look at the last one. So the last one, we have 2, 4, 6 equal parts, okay? And then we have 2 parts shaded, which is 2/6, okay? And then in the second figure, we have 3 plus 3 parts, that's 6 parts. So both fractions are cut into 6, okay? So let's see, how many parts are shaded here? We have 4 parts shaded, so 4/6 is indeed greater than 2/6. Okay, how did you do? Okay, so yes, this in terms of what we looked at today. Remember, when we are comparing fractions, you need to draw a picture to match the problem. If a picture is not provided, okay, if a picture is provided, or whether you just have the numerical values, okay, if the numerators are the same, remember, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction, okay? If the denominators are the same, remember, the bigger the numerator, the bigger the fraction, okay? So hopefully this has been helpful for you. As always, thank you to Slide Carnival, Google Images, and SchoolNet for all your help in helping me bring this presentation to the students. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, please, please, please reach out to myself or any one of the third grade teachers should you have any questions about any of the concepts covered here today. Have a wonderful day, and I do hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.